Welcome to the All About You podcast, and today my guests are Paul and Bea, and we are talking about practicing getting out of your comfort zone, and this is their story. So Paul and Bea, welcome to the All About You podcast.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having us.
You are very welcome. What are we going to be talking about today then? Getting outside your comfort zone. Where are we going to go with this conversation?
Yes, I think it actually started, I heard this from a coworker, her name's Paula, and we were all working together at a photo studio company, and we had a great time over there. We were friends. We would go out afterwards for drinks and all that. So we were very comfortable where we were. We were happy where we were. But then bit by bit, you kind of have that feeling of wanting something more for yourself, career-wise or, for your life. We were at that time 25, 26. Bit by bit, we see people moving out of the country, moving to the States or going on a cruise ship. Someone joined a cruise ship. And then suddenly it was just the few of us, like just me and Paula and just a few other girls left. And she said something about we shouldn't be in our comfort zone. If you're in your comfort zone, you're like stuck. You have to get out of that comfort zone. And that really did stick with me. And I shared that with Paul, and that has been kind of what has, I guess, propelled us forward in our movements.
So you were originally
from the Philippines, yes.
And then you could see a lot of your friends leaving and going on to different things. Okay.
Yes, even though we all had fun there. We were all good friends. We all worked well together. But bit by bit, people, I guess, and us also felt there must be something more. We wanted something more for ourselves. And that quote, getting out of your comfort zone, really resonated with me at that time.
I think that's an interesting point, Bea, because we've all got our own levels of comfort, and it's like a cosy blanket. Stepping out, dipping your toe in that water can be incredibly scary, whether it's personal relationships, whether it's your work, whether it's hobbies, can be incredibly scary.
Yes, and rejuvenating though. When you like, sometimes you'll feel like, it's actually great to be in the water. So that feeling of, should I not?
And it's stepping outside that gives us the growth. So you got to the point now, this mantra, stepping out of your comfort zone, was really resonating. It was going around your mind. Paul, what about you?
For me, growing up, my parents were normal minimum wage workers. My mom's a teacher, and my mom is a delivery guy for San Miguel Beer in the Philippines.
Your dad? My
dad. Sorry. So we were pretty average, maybe below average. So every time we have extra money, we go to a really nice restaurant, or my parents buy us stuff, and that's my level of okay. Whenever I get that, I'm happy, and that is the comfort that's the zone I'm always comfortable in. Anything a little bit over that gives me I had these anxiety attacks for years, and anything over that just freaks me out. So when I met her, she's totally different. That immediately on day one, she just resonated this personality where she always asks why and what, all those questions every time I give her a reason of not doing anything. That's the main thing for me is I'm very scared of going out of my comfort zone, but then
So it sounded like you were in the position where Bea was the right person to come into your life. I'm a great believer in fate, and from what you've just said, it was the right time to meet the right person.
I think so, yeah. Because we've known each other since we were 15 in high school, but we didn't start dating until 7 years later. I saw her again after college. Well, we were both still kind of like in college.
Wow.
Because I love school so much. that I stayed in college for a little bit more longer. And then, that's when I saw her. I felt that was the time.
So what happened next then? So you two got together.
Yes. So he loves creating home videos and just editing it in the camcorder, straight from the camcorder. And then he would show me these videos and says, he said to me at that time, I want to be a film director. And I go, well, I took film in college and I have this friend who's really good at in that part of the class, like in filmmaking, let me connect you to. And then that's when he started learning more about editing, and filming videos. And that kind of became his job. So Paul never had a boss, really. He'll have a gig here and there. He'll film for somebody else and he'll edit for somebody else. And that was really his job for the longest time. So I think very different from what his career would have been. His dad, as he mentioned, worked for San Miguel, the beer company that's very popular here. That's originally from the Philippines. And that's a big company. And normally when, if your dad works for San Miguel for a long time, typically, then you also go to work at the same company. It's a big corporation. Yeah, me coming into his life saying, well, you can do this instead.
Human encounter for me is just makes me so uncomfortable that meeting new people, especially richer people or people from a different part of our city, makes me uncomfortable. So I met with a friend and he was amazing. He was so nice. And he's like, just go to the house. I'll teach you how to edit. The entire day he taught me and then he told me, if you want to be a film director, you have to learn editing first. Oh, the editors hate film directors who don't know how to edit. So I'll teach you how to edit first and then let's see what's going to happen. And from day one, he taught me how to edit. I was so uncomfortable because I didn't have a computer. I didn't know what he was talking about, but that whole day, he taught me the basics of editing. The next day, he calls me and he says, hey, I have a gig for you at MTV. And you have to go there tonight at 11 at night, and then you're going to edit the segment. I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't remember everything you taught me. And he's like, no, it's okay. Just go there. I'm going to be on the phone with you. And sure enough, I was on the phone with him from 11 at night to maybe 2 in the morning. He was just telling me, okay, this is in, this is out, this is cut, this is just on the phone the entire time. The director of the segment was sleeping on the floor already. It was supposed to be like a 15-minute edit, but I left the studio at 6 in the morning.
So you were well and truly out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So you were given a huge push into something you were interested in, but from a completely different direction. Okay, before you go off to be a film director, let's go back to basics editing. And you were just pushed over the edge of that cliff, well and truly.
Yep, by the people I trusted.
Wow.
That's why I can't thank them enough for everything. Just like that alone, that tiny act of love alone, just it changed my life dramatically.
So what happened after that?
So after that, going home from the studio at 6 in the morning, I'm a morning person, so I dreaded it. I hate it. I'm like, I don't want to do this because I love editing, but I don't want to go to work at 11 at night and then come home at 6 in the morning. I'm going to die in a car accident if I do this every day. So I looked for editing work afterwards, and then I discovered that there are videographers who needed editors for their wedding videos. And that's when I started to edit for photographers who have wedding videos on the side. So they just hire someone else to video and then they just give it to me to edit.
So you weren't actually at the weddings doing the video, but you had the finished tapes and then you were doing the editing after that. Is that something you enjoyed? That
I enjoyed because I could edit on my own time, and it's an easier edit because there's no director. It's me. I'm the director. So no one's waiting for me to finish. And then it's relatively a high paying job. So that was those two were just a plus for me.
You're now at the point then, you are your own boss, you're working in the mornings, nobody's looking over your shoulder, and you're getting the job done. What happened next?
There's like a wedding season, right? So during the off seasons, I look for other work, and then I find this production company who needs an editor for their commercials, for their music videos and stuff like that. So I go there. I commute for like a couple of hours to get there. And then I get there at like 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning. The director's still asleep on the couch. This is like a super ghetto setup. Like a super ghetto production company. Director sitting asleep. I'm already starting my edit. And that one director taught me how to edit fast. Because he's like, that segment you're editing right now, that's going to air at 1 p.m. So you need to edit fast. So I learned how to edit fast from that director. And then I worked for another production studio who works with this famous director who directs horror movies in the Philippines. But he also does music videos on the side. And I learned from him how to build up climactic parts of a video. Like if there's like a scene that automatically gonna make someone cry, he taught me how to build up before that scene comes. So it's a guaranteed like tearjerker or so I've learned so much from these people. And then there's one director that's our friend. So Paula's ex-boyfriend, Paula, the person who said the comfort zone, her ex-boyfriend is also a sound director. And that guy taught me how important music is when it comes to video. He told me that the difference between amateur video and professional video is sound, not the quality of the camera. So that's when I knew like all these things coming in. That's when I knew that, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do wedding videos that are cinematic, that are perfectly edited to music and all of those things. So
this is a thing now, isn't it? I mean, when we look on YouTube, these wedding videos you see are productions, aren't they? I mean, back in the day, you had a photographer and you waited weeks to get your prints. Now, everything is videoed and they'll put the raw cut actually up in the wedding reception so that people can see. But when you look at some of these wedding videos, it's a professional movie, as you say, with sound. You decided that was what you wanted to focus on.
yes, yeah, that's when I knew this is what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's a joyous occasion. Everybody looks beautiful. So it was easier to film regular people that way as opposed to any other day.
Yeah. You don't need to direct people because they're always smiling. They're always happy. Although we've done weddings where, someone's not happy, but most of the time they're happy. They're always beautiful. Business point of view. Because when I did commercials before also, and they pay after 30 to 60 days. Like you have to wait for the check to come in. With us, with the wedding industry, we make sure that the couple pays 2 weeks before the wedding itself. So we're already paid. Like I don't need to worry about approaching the couple at the end of the night asking, hey, do you have a check for us? I don't have to do that anymore.
So how does the process work then? You've got your bride and groom and they're getting married and you know the venue and all the rest of it. Do you just wander around and video and sort of get more natural shots, or do you have some kind of a plan with the bride and groom, the type of thing, the theme they want?
So we already have our own style of video. So the client, typically we tell them like, hire us if you like our style. We're not gonna pose you too much. We still want you to enjoy your day, so we're more fly in the wall, but we do have structure in terms of a timeline. For example, they hire us for 8 hours, then I will work with them on a timeline where the 8 hours should fall. And normally it's, oh, we'll film you for 1 hour when you're getting ready, and then after that, you're going to do this, and you're going to go get married, and then you're going to, and then that's all going to be within about that 8 hour or 10 hour time frame. I'm the one who works with clients more on that, more logistics, like, well, it's going to take you an hour to get from your hotel to the church, so this isn't going to work. You're going to have to move this up or down or whatever.
So you're sort of working out what the plan is going to be. You're directing operations on the day so that the guests know what's going on, and you're talking together so you're getting the shots that the bride and groom want. Let's talk about the style. What is the style that you have?
I think Paul can answer that more. For me, it's we want them to enjoy the day, so we are getting more of the candids when they're laughing, when they're hugging, when they're out there taking photos with their family. We want to see them interacting with the family and not just standing there looking at the photographer and posing. We want to show when they're just about to approach the couple, and they're, and when they're about to leave, when they're saying their goodbyes and stuff. I think it's more of that, being fly in the wall.
We always tell the couple, we don't pose you, we place you. So that means we are going to put you in a part of a scenic part of the room, and then we're gonna let you do your thing, instead of just like, oh, I want to put my dress here right in front of where all the other clothes are. We're gonna be like, no, go over here, and then you do it, because I want it to be still natural, but then aesthetically it looks pleasing. And we're very matter of fact. I think that's what our signature is. Like we tell the couples, you pay us thousands of dollars. We're not gonna let the video look cheap. We're not gonna force anything. We want to make sure that you guys know what we want you to do, but at the same time you're gonna enjoy the process. So I think that's what our process is we just let them do their thing. But
true, because there are some videographers that are also very cinematic, but they would ask couples to repeat certain things. So in California, weddings are a big thing because we have the sun almost all year round. So, it's always good weather. So weddings are not seasonal in California. January to December, people are getting married. And there is a thing called first look, where the bride and the groom see each other before the ceremony. So usually we lead the groom somewhere where there's not a lot of people, and then the bride comes in and they see each other for the first time. And it's we mic up the groom, he says something nice, they cry for a little bit, they get excited, and then we do some pictures, and the photographer does some pictures, and we get some of the romantics out of the way. So we call those post pictures romantics. Some videographers would ask the bride and groom to do that first look 3 or 4 times, because they want the right angle, they want this, that, and at that point to us, like that emotion isn't there. So we never ask them to repeat these things. These moments.
Make sure we catch it.
We catch it. We got it. That's good. Yeah. And we're done. We don't need to repeat anything. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your moment.
Because I don't want them to watch their video and say, oh, that was staged. Like that first look, it was a fake one. Or, all of these things. Like I had to say this to the camera. I hate that, because whenever you kind of like when you watch home videos, right? You watch the entire thing on the TV and everyone's laughing. I don't want the groom to not laugh when he sees himself, because he knew that was fake. That was staged. I want him to laugh with the people, cry with the people, anyone watching.
So this first look, I've never heard of this before. So this is when the bride's in her dress and the groom's in his suit. This is first look.
Yes.
I don't think this has gone to the UK yet, but I could be wrong, because in theory everything starts in the States and it goes across the pond. I haven't heard of first look, I have to say. So I will have to have a dig around and see if that is a thing. And I think back in the day, when we just had photographers, every bride you talk to, and even now, will say the day just goes by in a flash. the fact that you can have a video now and then you can see things you didn't even know happened, where a couple of the bridesmaids are doing something or family members. It's because you cannot be everywhere all the time. But you're capturing those moments, spontaneous, funny, the laughter, the tears, the games, the antics of everybody at the wedding, and they've got that for life.
Yes, and absolutely. The reaction of these couples when they see the video is always, "Oh my God, I'm crying." So that alone is like a reward for us, for our videographers, for our editors, for us, that, hey, we did a good job. We made these people like cry, while reliving their wedding. Corporations won't say those things like, "Oh my God, I love it, I cry." Maybe small businesses, but not the big corporations. So it's always, "This is great. Can you change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Can you have it back to me in 2 days?" That's, as opposed to brides and grooms where you're like, "Oh my God, I watched it 5 times.
We talk about the average wedding. How much footage would you end up with before you start the editing process? You're there for 8 hours, so in theory, you've probably got at least 8 hours worth of footage.
Not really 8 hours worth. I would say half of that.
Okay.
Maybe 4 hours. Mainly because the walking, the driving from the church to the reception area. Whenever we catch clips, for example, like during the photo shoot, we catch like 5 to 10 second clips, not like the entire thing. So we angle ourselves, position ourselves. So I want to say half of that would be, and the client, they usually get, in the contract, it says 30 to 40 minutes of like a full length feature, which is usually enough because you wouldn't want to watch 8 hours of footage.
I mean, back in the day when video first came out, we all had these clunky video cassettes, didn't we? Of the wedding or of the 21st birthday party, etc., etc. Where is the business now with you two then? Because we're sitting here in Valencia, Spain.
Yes.
We're talking about weddings in California.
Yes.
So before we left, we turned our videographers into partners and shared with them. They're both Filipino as well. And they were relatively new when I think Gino was shooting with us for like 5 years or something. So half the time almost of the company. And they're both Filipino. And, we were contemplating, during the pandemic, there was no weddings at all. Of course, we were thinking already about like moving to Spain because, there's probably not going to be anything. And then either sell the company or close it. And then Gino, during my brother's wedding, Gino was the one filming. We were on the table, eating at the table, and he told us, "Hey, maybe if you want." She was telling the story about like, if we don't sell it, we're just gonna close the company. And then the next day, Gino texted us, "Hey, maybe you guys wanna just have us run it for you, me and my wife." I'm like, "That's perfect," because coming from like someone who struggled, a Filipino going to the US with like no friends. We don't know anything about like the culture. This is great. Like we could share this company with them and at least like help them out. And now, now they're partners. We made them partners.
They are continuing to run the video business in California. So what are you guys up to in Valencia then?
So the same thing. We still meet with them every week, and I still email clients, I still call the new inquiries, I still attend meetings, like the final meetings. Remember when I said about the timeline? And so I still work on those and any admin stuff. So if we need to talk to the insurance agent or any paperwork stuff, I still do. And Paul still manages the post-production with Gino, the videographer partner now. And they do more of the production side of things. So that's when, they approve the edits, they send the work over. So they're both doing that. So we're still very involved in the business, and we want to stay that way too, because a lot of the weddings that we do are referrals from other vendors because they know us, Paul and me. So we want to make sure that they know that we are involved in it. This is still our baby. This is still something that is close to us. So we never really stopped working, although it is nice to be far away from all that as well. To have partners that we can split the work with is also very nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's
a nice break.
It's a really nice break. So when we got here, because I just realized that once we landed in the US, the next day I was already on Craigslist looking for work. From that day, we just hit the ground running. So we've been working for pretty much
and just
14
trying,
years.
just trying to run the business yourself. We
hard,
don't know what we were doing, and having partners that will split the work and kind of collaborate with us, it is also like a nice break. So, we say that we're on sabbatical, and that really is how we feel. I feel like I'm a little bit farther away from that because, as a small business, you're like putting out fires more than anything. Sometimes you can't be creative because you have to deal with this and I have to deal with that. So having more people help out.
While we were running the business, I think the one thing that we needed was someone to say, "Oh, you could actually do this." But then, when we got to the US, there were barely any wedding videographers. So there was like 5. So that's when I knew that this is the business we're going to run, because there's nobody.
Grounds, yeah.
So, but the other side of the coin is we don't know anyone, because most of the time, like Filipinos, we're in the hospitality business or in the medical business in the US. So we don't know anyone that is running the same kind of business that we are. So for the last maybe 6 years, we were just trying to look for a mentor, or we were looking for a co-business owner. So that's why sharing the company with Gino and Marie, I think it's going to help them. That part alone is saving them so many years of just trying to figure out what to do.
So you've left it in very capable hands. So what are you working on now, you two?
So coming from California and deciding to take a break and move to Spain kind of like solidified for us. We want to be able to tell ourselves that at least we tried. Like, this is something new to us. We've never been to Europe. We've never been to Spain. So it's another move that pretty much got us out of our comfort zone. And that's what we've been trying to do now is we documented everything. I'm a videographer. It's my fault. I film everything. So I might as well make a YouTube channel out of it and share our experiences and what we've learned on our YouTube channel. And then, hopefully other people would be inspired, if not informed, of how life is here in Spain.
So for you, starting a YouTube channel, that's filming, that's editing, so that is you're quite happy doing that. Bea, where do you fit into this?
First, Sheila, I think it's more of when you talk about, like, when we're talking about him filming, I think it goes back to when we were younger, when he was younger, when he was filming home videos. To me, it feels like it's the same thing. He's documenting our lives here now, and now I'm a willing participant because before he did a podcast and I didn't want to be on that, but here I feel like, I am enjoying watching ourselves again and hearing random people or reading random people's comments on what we did, and all of them have been really nice. We haven't had any trolls. So I think it's something that we want to maybe pursue further. We still want to continue it because we realize that we also have a nice rapport in front of the camera. So I'm enjoying rewatching ourselves banter.
But that's interesting though, isn't it? Because you're sort of on the operating side of the wedding business. Now you're being thrust in front of the camera, which is taking you outside of your comfort zone.
Yes, and also I'm a more private about things. Like for social media, I'm just there to scroll at other people's things. I rarely post anything about myself or my family because I'm not. I'm not a very private person. I'm a very private person, but in terms of the YouTube thing, I feel like it is a platform that I can say only what I want to say and nothing more. It's nice. It's very nice to kind of share our experiences, especially to people our age. That haven't considered moving out of the country, and we've already done it twice. So, I think when Paul and I were having discussions, like, are we sure about this? And we're like, well, we've done this before. We've left before. This isn't anything new to us. So it kind of like we're psyching ourselves out, but we're scared. We were scared. We were very scared. For me, I think I want this YouTube channel to encourage people, to show them that there is something else outside of where they live, whether it would be a different city, a different state, a different country, or a different continent, in our case. So, and the Facebook groups, when I was just reading through the process, there were random Facebook users who just would message me, and they want to get on the phone with us to encourage us and tell us, well, these are the steps that you have to do to get your visa. And they were total strangers, and I think we want to pay that forward. I'm really, really thankful for them. And I think the best way to thank them is to pay it forward, because without their encouragement, I don't think we would have had the guts to go through with it. I would have maybe quit halfway through.
I think that's such an interesting point, because I think I came onto YouTube, I don't know, maybe sort of 10 years plus, just watching videos, Now YouTube has become a resource for finding out information on how normal people have negotiated something, whether it's taking your driving test, whether it's moving to another country. And I think particularly when you do live in another country, the education you receive from the process of moving, the documentation, maybe you're selling a property, maybe you're buying a property, the education is phenomenal. And I love the idea, as in people are giving you positive comments on your experience and you're paying it forward to other people. Because moving to another country, whether it's within Europe or whether it is international, is huge. Absolutely huge. And as much as you can think you've got all your bits of paper and you've planned it all out, you're still going to get some shocks along the way. So I think that is absolutely phenomenal, Bea, because you put yourself out there in the front of the camera, which you said you're not, it's not your natural, habitat. And as well, you're opening yourself up to comments. And I think that can be quite a negative side of YouTube, because people can hide behind avatars and have a go at you, troll, etc. And it's nice to hear that you're getting these very positive comments on what you're doing.
Right. And I think that was one of my fears, was always like, I don't want to put something out there and then someone's just going to say something nasty and then I'll just stop. So that was one reason why I was hesitant at first. But really, we love being here in Valencia. We love our life here in Spain so far. So we feel very strongly about encouraging people to do something that scares them, do something that they would never have dreamed of. Paul is the dreamer, not me. Whenever he says something, it's so outlandish. Like, he said maybe 5 years ago, I want to retire at 40. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. And here we are. He's 41 and I'm 40 and we're on a sabbatical, semi-retirement for now. So to me, it's crazy that he would say that and then it just comes through, comes true.
And Paul, how does that feel that you are in that place that you said, yeah, that's where I want to be, and you're in it? How does that feel?
Sometimes it still feels like a dream, and the neurotic side of me just always trying to convince me that there's something wrong is gonna happen, because this is just too perfect. The situation right now is just too perfect. Something's happening. And for me, like moving here, that was easier for me to just let go of everything, because the more fears you have, the more things that scares you, it's always gonna hold you down. So I just released all of those, and now I'm just really, really happy and excited for what the future is going to bring. And hopefully this sabbatical turns into an actual retirement. But, I'm just so happy that she said yes to the YouTube channel, because she's the one that's easier to look at. So I'm like, thank you. She's the missing part. So, I feel like I can't wait for what tomorrow's gonna bring. It's just something that from coming here, you can't expect anything anymore. Like, this city just surprises us every day, and it's amazing. I just can't wait to share this. It's kind of like a bittersweet thing, because I want to keep this city a secret, but at the same time I want to share it with the people that we love and the people that we like, at least. But it's just, I wish everyone would be able to have an opportunity to have this kind of life. Just realizing that you don't need a lot of money. You don't need a lot of things to be stress-free or happy. You just need to have a life that will tell you okay, you need to stop. Like, it's Sunday, everything's closed, so you need to relax, go to the beach, So I love that life here is like that.
And I think that's interesting you bring that up, because obviously in the States and the UK, virtually everything is open all the time. And I remember my period of adjustment when I first came here. Shops were closed on a Sunday, and still are. You can't go to your local supermarket on a Sunday. And if a bank holiday falls on a Saturday, well, that's it. It's going to be closed Saturday and Sunday. So for you guys coming from the 24/7 culture of the US to Valencia, or in general Spain, lots of places closed from 1:30 to 5:30 for siesta time. Sundays, everything is closed in respect to supermarkets. That's a big culture thing we have to go through this period of getting ourselves organised. It is a big thing. It's a great thing. And I do love that. I love the fact that, okay, in theory, Sunday, it's family day, whether you go for a paella or whether you go to the beach or you go out walking or whatever you do. I really appreciate that. And I think, particularly in this technological world we live in, having that Sunday, which in theory is our day to sort of rest and enjoy our family and friends, I hope we continue to have that. I hope we don't go every day's basically the same. Let's talk about, Bea, for you, that period of adjustment. So Paul's the dreamer. Are you the facts and the plans and the pen and paper girl? Yeah, I get that impression. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, how was the adjustment here?
Actually, when you mentioned that Sundays they are closed, I think it's more of a mental adjustment than anything else. Just allowing yourself to finally take that day off and not feel guilty for not doing any work that's pending until the next day. Because, well, this is family day, or this is the day for you to really just, if they're not working, if the stores are closed, if the groceries are closed, why are you working? So to me, it's freeing to feel that I don't have to feel guilty about leaving that email for tomorrow. Oh, I'm not doing that today. This is my day to go to the beach and enjoy and just drink and spend the money, you know, not necessarily have to like save every time. So I think it's freeing. It is an adjustment. I think it took me a while to kind of get that rhythm down. Generally, Paul and I, we would eat dinner at 5 p.m. and now we find ourselves having dinner at 9 or 10 like everybody else. And just naturally it happens. So, yeah.
Well, I think, Paul, you're going to continue to be the dreamer because you've got the luxury of Bea, as in keeping you organised, on track, thinking it through. You're both young. You've started one business and you've handed it over to somebody who's doing a good job. So basically, the future is your oyster.
It is. And
Yes.
I love oysters.
Yes, and I think, you know, never would we imagine living here in Europe, really. Like, who would? We're Filipinos, we need visas for almost every country that we want to visit. We need a visa for Japan, for US, for Canada, for the UK, for the whole Schengen area. So to suddenly have that residency card and having that Europe open up to us was just phenomenal. You know, it was mind-blowing to me. And I think we didn't know that if you come from a Latin American country or from one of the Spanish colonies like the Philippines, we didn't know that all you had to do was stay here as a resident here in Spain for 2 years, and then you can apply for citizenship. So, you know, and I don't think a lot of Filipinos know that. And that's an opportunity that we want to grab. So it's presented to us, you know, not to Americans, not to other countries, but to us. And we're like, whoa, okay, we've never had special privileges before for being Filipinos. This is it. Like this is what we have to do.
Growing up, it was just like always America, the UK, or Saudi Arabia.
Or Canada.
Those are Canada's like pretty relatively new.
Okay.
But all those three that's where you go to earn a lot of money. So for us, like, we've never thought about Spain. We've never.
Or Europe, yeah.
So this really is our oyster. This future is gonna be, you know, just exciting and.
Yeah, so we're full speed ahead. You know, how do you say full speed ahead? Full steam ahead. Full steam ahead.
Yeah. I mean, this is absolutely brilliant, and we're going to put links to your YouTube channel and to your videography business as well with the podcast. And all I can say is, Paul, keep dreaming. You've got the luxury of Bea to think through the plans and keep you reasonably on the straight and narrow. I cannot see you going into full retirement. I think after 24 hours you'd be bored with that. You're always going to be doing something. It might not be on a huge scale, but it'll be enough to keep you out of trouble and, you know, keep the money ticking over. It's been a fascinating conversation, and it's been lovely to get to know you and your experience of your time so far in Valencia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Paul and Bea, I wish you all the luck on your new venture and your new chapter together in Valencia. And thank you for being guests on the All About You podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Sheila.
Welcome to the All About You podcast. My name is Sheila and I am your host. In this podcast, I invite people to tell their stories of their travels, hobbies and passions. These podcasts are also now available on my All About You YouTube channel. So if you have a story to tell, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please subscribe on whatever platform you are using. It is free, and if you would like to tell your story, please contact me on allaboutyoupodcast@yahoo.com and let's tell your story.